She said forever. Those two words, they were the foundation of my world, the promise that echoed in every corner of our shared life. Her name is Stella, and for 10 years, she was my everything. From college sweethearts fumbling through our first date to building a life together.
Oh.
Our story felt like it was ripped from a fairy tale. We had the house, the dog, the inside jokes that no one else understood. We were Mason and Stella, an unbreakable team, or so I thought. The beginning of the end wasn't a sudden explosion. It was a slow, creeping chill that I couldn't quite name. It started with her phone, which was suddenly glued to her hand and always face down. Then came the late nights at the office, the excuses that felt just a little too rehearsed. I remember asking her one evening if everything was okay. She looked at me, her eyes not quite meeting mine, and said, "Of course, silly, just stressed with work." I wanted to believe her. I desperately wanted to believe that the woman I loved, the one who promised me forever, was still the same person I married. But my gut, that primal instinct we all have, was screaming at me. I tried to ignore it, telling myself I was being paranoid, insecure. Who was I to doubt a decade of love? Who was I to question her? We had built a life on trust. But the little inconsistencies started piling up, forming a mountain of doubt that I could no longer climb over. A friend mentioned seeing her car at a restaurant across town when she was supposedly working late. A credit card bill showed a charge for a hotel bar I knew her company didn't use. Each discovery was a small crack in the foundation of our life, and soon the cracks were too big to ignore. One rainy Tuesday afternoon, I came home early from a business trip, planning to surprise her. The house was quiet, except for the sound of the rain against the windows. I walked into our bedroom, and that's when my world shattered. The scent of a man's cologne I didn't recognize hung heavy in the air. And on her nightstand, next to a half-empty glass of wine, was a man's watch. Not my watch. It was a brand I'd never seen before, expensive and unfamiliar. In that single, heart-stopping moment, the whispers of doubt became a deafening roar. Every late night, every guarded text, every hollow excuse clicked into place. The confrontation was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. My voice was barely a whisper when I held up the watch and asked, "Whose is this?" The color drained from her face. The silence that followed was heavier than any words could ever be. And then came the truth. A torrent of confessions. A story of a secret life she had been living for months with a coworker. She cried. She apologized. She said it was a mistake. But how could months of lies, of calculated deceit, be a mistake? A mistake is forgetting to pick up milk from the store. This was a demolition. She kept saying she loved me, that it didn't mean anything. But her actions spoke louder than her words ever could. The person standing in front of me wasn't the Stella I knew. The woman I married, the one who looked into my eyes and promised forever, was gone. In her place was a stranger, and I was left standing in the ruins of the life we had built, trying to figure out how to breathe again. The pain was immense, a physical ache in my chest that wouldn't go away. It felt like a part of me had died. The days that followed were a blur of grief and anger. Every object in our home was a memory, a ghost of a happiness that now felt like a lie. I packed a bag and stayed with a friend, unable to be in that house, surrounded by the echoes of our broken promises. Friends and family rallied around me, offering support, but I felt utterly alone. How do you explain that the person you trusted most in the world has betrayed you in the most profound way possible? How do you start to piece yourself back together when you feel like you've been shattered into a million pieces? But slowly, very slowly, something began to shift. The initial shock gave way to a quiet resolve. I realized that her choices were a reflection of her, not of me. Her betrayal didn't diminish my worth. It didn't erase the love I was capable of giving. It just meant that I had given it to the wrong person. I started focusing on myself. I hit the gym, not for revenge, but for release. I reconnected with old friends I had drifted from. I poured my energy back into my own passions, things I had let slide while prioritizing our relationship. I learned that forgiveness isn't about letting her off the hook. It's about letting myself off the hook. It's about refusing to let her actions define my future. It's about accepting that our forever had an expiration date, and that's okay. It doesn't invalidate the good times we had. It just puts them in a different context. They are chapters in a book that is now closed, and I am ready to start writing a new one. Today, I am not the same man I was. I am stronger, more resilient. I've learned the importance of trusting my gut and the true meaning of self-love. The scar is still there, a reminder of the pain, but it no longer hurts to the touch. It's a testament to a battle I survived. To anyone out there going through a similar heartbreak, know this: you are not alone, and you will get through this. Your story isn't over. This is just a plot twist, and you are still the hero of your own journey. The end of one forever is simply the beginning of a new one, a forever you build for yourself. Thank you for listening to my story. If you found some strength in my words, please consider subscribing. Take care of yourselves.